BookTube and YouTube all together. Greetings, every viewer that is watching my video. Those of you who know me at all know that it was bound to happen. That today I am introducing a new tag. And this new tag is centered around none other than Lady Gaga. That's right, Lady Gaga. It's the Lady Gaga book tag. You knew I was going to do it sooner or later. You know how much I love the lady, right? Okay, so I have come up with a list of 6 prompts that all are connected to her albums, but you don't need to be a Lady Gaga fan to do this tag. You don't have to be familiar with her albums. I've taken care of that for you. You just got to come up with 6 book titles. That's all. And what I've done is I've tied each prompt into one of her 6 major albums. And my tablet better behave. And I am doing something different myself in my answering. I noticed I was getting into a rut with some of my answers when it came to tags. Like if there was a tag about relationships, I was going to do my favorite relationship is the one in Brideshead Revisited. And if talk about a book that has to do with mental illness, I would probably grab A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Well, I've done those. I've done them repeatedly. I've done Valley of the Dolls I don't know how many times. That's one I could have done for this. Every book that I am answering with today is a new book that I have never used before. Never used it before in a tag. So here we go. Okay, the Lady Gaga book tag. For all you little monsters out there. The first prompt. Lady Gaga's first 2 releases were The Fame and The Fame Monster. Name a book you like with fame as its theme. My answer for this one is Crowned Heads by Thomas Tryon. It's a great book. It's basically 4 novellas that slightly intertwine. And it's about 4 stars of the golden age of Hollywood, fictional stars. But they are based on real people, and if you delve a bit, you can figure out who they are, especially if you're into old movies and the careers of old actors from the 1930s and 40s and such. And just lost Trappist. He's not a Gaga fan. Yeah, so Crowned Heads by Thomas Tryon is my first one because her first 2 albums are The Fame and The Fame Monster. And then next what we have Born This Way was her next release. What book follows a character born with a challenging situation? My answer for this one is Of Human Bondage by W. Somerset Maugham, in which the main character was born with a club foot and had to go through life entirely in everything he did in his adult life. He was an adventurer, he was an explorer, he never let the club foot hold him back. The one thing that really blindsided him, though, was a relationship. So I could have used that in another answer too, but in this case, I'm using his club foot because he has that club foot all through the book. And then we've got her next album, Art Pop, came next. That's Art Pop, A-R-T-P-O-P. Art Pop came next. Name a book with art or an artist as its main focus. And my answer for this one is My Name is Asher Lev by Chaim Potok. And What a book. If you've never read this book, it is brilliantly written. It is about a young man who is part of a very conservative Jewish family, and as many of you probably know, the Jews have this rule. I don't know if it's a law, a rule about graven images, and our hero Asher Lev finds out early on in his life, as a preteen basically, that he has great artistic talent and loves to draw, loves to paint, and must make the decision to follow his heart with his art or follow the rules of his religion. And of course, he gets a lot of input from all sides. All sides. And then next one, this keeps giving me a menu for some reason. Next one, Lady Gaga did 2 duet albums with Tony Bennett. Name a book you like where 2 authors teamed up to write it. And in this case, I came up with a book that I am currently reading for March of the Mammoths, and that is Hurry Sundown, and the author's listed as K.B. Gilden. However, K is for Katya and B is for Bill. It's a husband and wife team that wrote it together. And as a, I'm going to break my own little rule here, just because I got to plug it. As an honorable mention, the Ian Rutledge mystery series by Charles Todd. That's a son and mother team that write that, and that is also fantastic. And if you haven't picked it up yet, if I haven't convinced you yet to pick up those books, oh, what am I going to do? But they are wonderful, wonderful books, and so is Hurry Sundown. Hurry Sundown is, I'm enjoying the dickens out of it. It is a long, long book. It is very detailed. One day, the first day of the book lasts 92 pages. That's just the first day of the action in the book. But it's brilliantly written, and the characters are great, and it goes some places that are uncomfortable when it comes to race relations and the haves over the have-nots, and it's a good book. And there are some things in it that surprised me that they got past the censors for when it was written. It was written back in the early 60s. And anyway, it's a really good book. Let's see. The next album she came out with was Joanne, which was about relationships, good and bad. What's your favorite relationship book? In my case, as I said at the intro, my normal default would have been Brideshead Revisited, but I'm not using that one this time. I am using Pride and Prejudice, which is a brilliant book by Jane Austen. It's her best book. I don't think I'll get many arguments on that. I do know some people who don't like it, and that's okay. I still like it. But the relationships, generally the relationships between, oh yes, Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, that's the main one. But then of course there is the one between Elizabeth's sister, Jane, and I believe it's Mr. Bingham, if I'm not mistaken. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. And then there is the sister who marries the Oh, yeah, the wicked one. Mr. Wickham. Wickham, the wicked one. Um, so yeah, it's a wonderful book about relationships. It's got a bite when it comes to its satire of society at that time. Um, and it's worth reading if you haven't already read it. Finally, her last album that came out was Chromatica, and it's mostly about living with mental illness. What book have you read that deals with this topic? And for this one, I am choosing Ordinary People by Judith Guest. The book opens with a teenage boy returning home from a psychiatric hospital after having attempted suicide. Um, there's a lot that goes on in the book, much of which is his interactions with his parents, um, the interactions with his psychiatrist, as the psychiatrist tries to help him figure out what drove him to suicide, um, to attempt suicide, I should say. And it's a very moving book. It's one that you want to keep a box of tissues close by when you read it. It is it's not a gut wrencher on the level of A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, but it is a gut wrencher still. Um, and it'll push some buttons, and it should. It's one of those books that should come with some cautions for people with triggers, um, because of, I don't want to give spoilers away, but yeah, but the dealing with depression and suicide, and also with other deaths in the family. Um, but definitely a book worth reading if you haven't read it. It's from the 70s. I had to read it for college, and the professor who assigned it um, told us that the final exam is going to be to write an essay on a relationship within the book, and gave us the opportunity to read the first chapter in the book, which presents all the main characters, and we had to pick anyone we wanted, any relationship, and I just picked the mother and the son. Boy, did I regret that decision, because that was one of the most complex, multi-layered relationships in the whole book. Between the son who attempted suicide and the mother who couldn't deal with it. Powerful stuff. Great book. So anyway, those are my 6 books. And again, The Crowned Heads by Thomas Tryon, Of Human Bondage by W. Somerset Maugham, My Name is Asher Lev by Chaim Potok, Hurry Sundown by K.B. Gilden, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and Ordinary People by Judith Guest. And now comes the time when I tag people. And I meant to write some of these down, and I didn't. But I'm going to. I'm going to write them down right now because I'm going to need to put them in the description. I am tagging MJ at Reading This Life. And the reason I'm tagging MJ at Reading This Life is because she's the one who introduced me to the music of Lady Gaga. And little did she know what she was doing when she did that, because I didn't just like what I heard, I went crazy for what I heard. Lady Gaga is phenomenal. That's all there is to it. She is just phenomenal. She can do anything. She can sing, she can act, and when it comes to singing, she can sing anything. I've heard her do all kinds of stuff, not just her regular music of her own that's on her albums, but I've seen her do a tribute to Stevie Wonder. I've seen her do a tribute to Julie Andrews. I've seen her do a tribute to oh yep, there it goes right out. Anyway, she's teamed up with Elton John. She's just she whatever she puts her hand to, it's a success. And then you add her acting ability to it. And with movies, the movies House of Gucci and A Star Is Born, and man, anyway, I can go on and on and on about Lady Gaga, but I'm gonna stop now because I've done my prompts. And as I said, it's MJ's fault. So she's got to be tagged in this. And that's what I was doing. I was tagging people. So I'm tagging MJ. I'm tagging Gareth at books, songs, and other magical stuff, I believe is what his channel is called. I think it's pretty close to that. And I am also going to tag Read by Fred because he told me, and it's his fault because he told me, that he listens to Lady Gaga while he's cooking. So, of course, I've got to include him. And let's see, who else? I don't know if she's a Lady Gaga fan, but I know that she can give some great answers to these prompts. And that is Jolene at Bookworm Adventure Girl. So those are my 4 that I am tagging, and I trust that this tag will just grow legs and wander all over the internet, all over YouTube. So that's it. So before I get going on Lady Gaga again, think Lady Gaga. We're just gonna leave it there. And we hope you have a wonderful day. And listen to some great music while you're doing this tag. If you are watching this and I haven't tagged you and you want to do it because you're a Lady Gaga fan, or you want to do it just because you like the prompts, feel free to jump in and do it. Hijack it. Have a blast. It is not locked into just the 4 people that I mentioned. You can do it too. And we'll talk to you later. Have a great day. It's been fun having this time. Bye.